Hey everyone, so this is my review of Magnum PI, Season 1, Episode 3, called The Woman Who Never Died. And essentially what this episode is about is that Magnum is asked to look into the identity of this man's comatose fiancée after he discovers that she's had extensive facial surgery. And this was a really great episode that had a very interesting plot to it, and it did get a little messy by the end, but still it was interesting to see how everything sort of connected to each other and how everything played out. Where with this girl, she has done all this facial surgery and stuff like that to essentially hide from the cops and hide from her ex-boyfriend and like all the stuff that they did together. And that was very interesting to sort of see Magnum figure all that stuff out and sort of figure out this other true life that this woman once had that she's now having to hide away from. And the whole plot around the jewelry heist and stuff was the part that did get a little messy in my mind, where this woman was part of this jewelry heist that eventually led to someone getting killed. And like, who was her accomplice in all this that was actually the one pulling the strings and stuff was where it got messy, because it felt like they just like, oh, we need another person to do this, so we'll just chuck this guy that you've already met in there to be the bad guy. And it didn't really make that much sense because of the fact that they like set it up too well that he didn't know anything about her beforehand. That all of a sudden when, like, oh no, this is her crazy ex-boyfriend, it just felt weird that he didn't show any sign of recognition or whatever to possibly, like, pin him as a suspect. It was very interesting how the fiancé of this comatose woman sort of took all the news when Magnum sort of revealed everything to him and revealed how this woman has, like, a kid and had, like, this other life where she lived relatively normal besides a drug-addicted sort of boyfriend or whatever. And how all this different stuff, and how the fiancé at first was completely angry how she lied about literally everything in her life, both in the past and in the present. So that was interesting how he took it, but then he did sort of come around and realize that for the most part, what she did show and stuff was truly her. Then I really did like how Rick, TC, and Higgins all played into their sort of roles in this episode, where Rick got Magnum a bunch of different people to help him out. So got him the guy to do the, like, undo all the facial reconstruction so they could get a rough picture of what this woman looked like before all the surgeries. And also sort of help Magnum out through some struggles of his connection to this case. And then TC was funny with his scene where apparently the way, instead of giving people money and stuff for all the favors that Magnum gets people for, instead he's been offering them free helicopter rides from TC, and that's not something that TC is completely okay with. So that was a fun moment, especially in the one where TC jokes about watching over Magnum, even though technically he's on the ground and not in his helicopter at that time. And then Higgins was interesting with Magnum both using her to get information that he couldn't get access to, but she could. But then also her coming to actually help him out with different stuff, and how she sort of played in the role of the whole hostage situation was interesting, with her sort of being the calm one to keep everything from going bad. And then the new detective in this episode was a little weird and confusing, and I feel like they did it because the guy who was in the first episode didn't want to do anymore. So they brought in like this new guy to play like the detective that's sort of at odds with Magnum. And that is very interesting, and I did definitely like it more than the guy from the first episode, because the sort of dynamic between Magnum and this new guy was actually interesting to see. Especially with them both being at odds at one part of the episode, but then also working together at another part. It was just really great to see that relationship. And I'm very interested to see how it's going to be tested in the next episode, where it is like one of the things I was hoping, where Magnum's finally going to be framed for a crime. And then just overall, this was a really great episode, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen in the next one. And so, yeah, that was my review of Magnum P.I. Season 1, Episode 3, called The Woman Who Never Died. So, yeah. Bye!